God damn it! Raw is boring as hell tonight, folks. I've been elbow dropping my bed all night long for no fucking reason. Just because I'm so fucking bored of the shit that I just watched for 3 fucking hours. Boredom. Nothing. Elbow drop. That's what it feels like. Someone elbow dropping me in the brain. Somehow, I got 3 pages of notes, although the last one is barely more than a paragraph. Let's start the fucking show, shall we? I got better shit to get to. Monday Night Raw, February 29th, Leap Year Day, 2016, from the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. Took them forever to mention the arena, because Michael Cole doesn't know how to do his fucking job at the top of the show. Show starts with a recap from last week. Roman Reigns getting the piss beat out of him by Triple H. And they did their best to edit out all of the cheering. The people cheering for Triple H to beat the piss out of Roman. Oh my god, boy. They play the intro video, and they do the pyro on the stage. King of Kings hits. And of course, out comes Triple H in a suit. I believe he came out to a pop. At least I think that's what my notes say here. They didn't pop for him for very long. He starts running his dick licker like he always does, and starts getting booed for what he's saying, of course. And basically the gist of what he says is, we are the authority, you will respect us, you will bow down to us, and you need to know your place. He goes through this whole long spiel of, you people have an authority figure in your life that you hate. You want to tell them to shut up. You want to tell them to go fuck themselves. But you don't, because of fear. But that fear is good, because it keeps you in line. It keeps you in your place. The social commentary here is kind of biting. I think Triple H was in the middle of a sentence, and Dean Ambrose's music hits. And he comes out to a big pop from the crowd. Because just anything to shut up Triple H at this point, because he is so boring when he starts running his mouth. The crowd starts chanting, Ambrose, Ambrose. And Dean starts off his promo by saying that, I was just on the phone with Roman Reigns, and he says that he's coming for you. And Triple H would know what that meant. Ambrose is trying to be funny here. They go back and forth. The crowd chanted Shane O'Mac because somebody mentioned Shane. And so the crowd's like, Shane O'Mac. Sadly, Shane's not on the show tonight, but he will be next week. apparently. Anyways, don't know what triggered it, but Ambrose suddenly gets into Triple H's face. The crowd starts chanting, Ambrose, Ambrose again. Oh, and then the crowd starts chanting, you can't beat him, directed at Triple H, because that was something that Ambrose said to Triple H, you can't beat me. And the crowd started chanting that, you can't beat him. Ambrose says, you can't beat me, and I want a title shot. I want a match against you for the title. And Triple H, the twat that he is, says he'll do what he always does. He'll take it under advisement, and if it's best for business, maybe it'll happen. And he basically says, I'll give you an answer by the end of the night. And then he goes on to say, I was going to give you the night off, Dean, but since you're so itching for a fight, I'm going to give you a match against League of Nations member Alberto Del Rio. So that match is made for later on. That's basically the end of the segment there. They show a recap of the stuff with Shane from last week. They hype up The Undertaker being here later on. They hype up Vince being here later on. And they hype up Stephanie coming out later on to finally accept the stupid Vincent J. McMahon Legacy of Excellence Award, is what they called it. And then they cut back in stage to a half and half shot. There's Becky on one half and Sasha in the other half. Those two are going to be wrestling next. And they cut to a commercial break. Cutting back from the commercial, there's Charlotte sitting over by the commentary table with Flair, Ric Flair. They're not on commentary, but they're just sitting next to the commentary table. Of course, the champion sits there at ringside while the two people fight over the number one contendership. And this is funny because I could have swore, and you can go back to the video from a week or two ago, Charlotte said that it was going to be a triple threat at WrestleMania anyways. So why they're doing this number one contenders match, especially with the finish, completely dumbfounds me. So we get Becky versus Sasha number one contenders match. There was a commercial break, dueling chants for Becky and Sasha. And what ended up happening was Sasha and Becky were up on the top rope. Sasha and then Becky on the inside. Sasha flips over Becky, does the sunset flip, and for some reason, Sasha falls backwards with Becky's legs over top of her. And they're both laid out in the ring, and for some reason, Kyoto, the referee, counts the fucking 3 count. And I'm thinking, why the hell would the ref do that? It's obviously a draw. Why even count? I'd be like, no, we need a winner in this match. So one of you cover the other or something. But he counted because it's the fucking storyline. So we get a double pin. And the ref has to go over and talk to Lillian Garcia, who announces the match is a draw. Because both women's shoulders were down. So, yeah, there was a draw. Some people in the crowd started chanting, triple threat, because that's obviously what's going to happen. They do the cutaway gag. And there's the Wyatts up on the Titantron. Bray cuts a promo, who gives a shit, I don't remember anything from it. Cutaway gag again, and they go to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, Dolph Ziggler is already on his way to the ring. He's about halfway down the fucking ramp. And The Miz is already in the ring. And I guess while Ziggler is finishing his entrance, they show us a promo, a backstage promo that happened during the pre-show from Raw last week. So why they're including shit from the pre-show that not everyone watches, I don't watch it because it's only on the network, and I don't get the fucking network, and I don't care. So they're pulling shit right out of their ass to come up with crap. Basically, the gist of the promo, Miz was talking about, like, Ziggler, what have you done lately, blah-de-blah, and he brings up, I was WWE champion at WrestleMania, and Ziggler's like, yeah, but that was like 5 years ago, and you've done fuck all since. So anyways, of course, that's what's leading to this match. We get Miz versus Ziggler. What happens? Ziggler beats the piss out of the Miz for a good minute and a half. He drop-kicked him twice, elbow dropped him, he was doing his splashes in the corner, punching into his neck breaker thing. He super kicked Miz in the face. And then, out of nowhere, what happened? Oh yeah, Ziggler went to whip Miz into the corner. Miz reverses it, throws Ziggler into the corner with all his strength, and just like the other week, Ziggler takes a whole lot of turnbuckle, eats it real fucking hard. Miz drops down, roll up, 1, 2, 3. Miz gets the fucking win, rolls the hell out of Dodge real quick, and runs off like a chicken shit. And Ziggler's left in the ring like, what the fuck? Which is exactly my rating for this match. What the fuck? Enough with these roll-up, cheap-ass finishes. Enough already. I want to see somebody get pinned with a fucking finisher. Especially somebody like Ziggler. You should not be fucking treating him like this. Are you guys deciding to bury him because he announced that he's basically leaving the company in like 2 years? Because he's sick of being mistreated? So you're just going to treat him like shit for his last 2 years? Fuck off already. Crowd was dead after Miz won, by the way, which is something you're going to hear me say a lot, because they were dead after basically every match. We get hype for Jericho and Styles versus The New Day. Or, as they're being called now, Jericho and Styles, they're being called Y2AJ. It's not a very good name, honestly. We get hype for a recap of what happened with Shane last week, which will be next, and they cut to a commercial break. So let me make sure I explained that as clearly as possible. They hype up the fact that they're about to show us a recap, which they already showed us once before in the fucking show. Where was it? Yeah, it was after the fucking segment with Triple H and Ambrose. They recapped what happened with Shane. And then they hype up that they're going to show it again. Hey, Kevin Dunn? Fuck you. Coming back from the break, of course, we see the recap of what happened with Shane last week. And for fuck's sake, they added the fucking God chorus and the really overly dramatic with this shit. Like, what they said and did, Vince and Shane, was really all that earth-shattering. It fucking was not. Moving on from that, there's Stephanie backstage. She's getting ready to come out next, and they cut to another commercial break. So we come back just for the recap of Shane's shit last week, and then we go to another commercial after we see Stephanie. At the 9 o'clock hour, Stephanie comes out to no reaction. She starts talking, she gets booed. The crowd starts chanting, Shane O'Mac, Shane O'Mac, because they'd really rather see Shane at this point. And I'm right there with you. Steph she's trying to, segue into doing her little speech. She has her nice leather-bound thing that she had last week with her speech in it. It's like this official, trapper thing. Like they usually have it when they have a contract. This little leather-bound, it's like a trapper keeper. But it's leather. It looks nice and professional, who cares? She's got her speech in this thing all written down and everything, like she needed. She keeps trying to start her speech, the crowd drowning her out with boos. And there was a small portion of the crowd, very audible on camera, that even started chanting, "Randy Savage." Hilarious. They also started chanting, "We want Shane." Stephanie turns bitchy all of a sudden. She throws over the fucking podium that the fucking award statue thing was on. She starts just ranting and raving. You like Shane, and he left the company and did fuck all, and abandoned you, and you like him because he represents you. He's ultimately a nothing. Cheap shit heat. All you can do is try to insult the fans who pay your fucking ass to do this stupid shit, and you're a shit performer anyways. That's basically all she does. She rants about Shane and the crowd and all this other shit, like you cursing us out is really gonna change our opinion of you, Stephanie. You're a cunt. And you're proving it by acting like a fucking cunt. That's why we hate you. Oh, I can't forget about this. Bitch makes it a fucking sexist thing. She says, oh, you only like Shane because he's a man. And this is a man's world, and there can't be a woman in this man's world. I'm like, bitch! Are you fucking Anita Sarkeesian? Shut the fuck up! This is not about sexism. This is about you being a royal cunt. Your husband being a royal cunt. Your father being a fucking royal cunt. Shane seems to be the only fucking person in the McMahon family who is not a royal cunt. That's what this is about. We are sick to death of this fucking authority storyline that is being forced on us by the fucking NBC network. That's right, I know about that. The NBC network owns the USA network, and it is under the orders of the NBC network that the WWE is continuing this fucking authority gimmick, despite the fact everyone hates it. And not in the heel heat kind of way, in the X-Pac heat kind of way, where they just want him to go the fuck away. We just want you to go away, Stephanie. We just want you to go away, Triple H. We just want you to go away, Vince. We're tired of seeing all three of your ugly mugs on our fucking TV screens. We want a new authority figure, someone who's not boring as fucking hell, someone we've seen a million goddamn times. That's basically all of her promo. She makes it about sexism, bitches about Shane and the crowd, and then she takes the award and she holds it up all proudly and she fucks off. And then they cut to another commercial break. Coming back from the commercial break, the Lucha Dragons are in the ring, finishing their entrance. And then the League of Nations music hits, and those four jabronis come out to no fucking reaction. And what do we get? We get a fucking boring match between the Lucha Dragons going against Sheamus and Rusev. With, of course, Del Rio and Barrett on the outside. Early in the match, there's a "We Want Lana" chant, and I was kind of wondering, yeah, where the hell has Lana been? She hasn't been out there with Rusev, not that I've seen. Of course, Barrett and Del Rio get involved in the match. I can't even remember what happened. Kalisto had come in. He was actually beating up Rusev, which just shows you how far that motherfucker has fallen. This guy was beating John Cena a while back. And then he jobbed to John Cena, and he's never recovered. But Kalisto was beating up Rusev somehow, and was about ready to beat him. There was interference. Somebody distracted Kalisto. He's looking outside of the ring, over at whoever was whatever. I think somebody grabbed his leg or something. Kalisto turns around, gets roundhouse kicked in the fucking face by Rusev, and that's lights out. He pins Kalisto 1, 2, 3. The League of Jabronis get the win, and the crowd is dead again. Del Rio decides to get in the ring and beat up Kalisto some more because there's still bad blood there. And he hits him with that contrived stomp out of the Tree of Woe. Crowds still don't give a fuck, by the way. They're so apathetic. This crowd in Nashville could not give a fuck. Hardly any fucks were given tonight. And hardly any fucks were granted, or deserved, really. Boring match. Moving on. We cut backstage. There's Renee Young interviewing Natalya. Well, we haven't really seen Natalya in a while. Renee asks Natalya, how do you do it? How do you stay so fit? How do you stay in such good shape? And Natalya's like, well, I work out, and I eat right, and I drink plenty of water. And the whole time she's saying this, you can see this shelf. They're like in a locker room, there's a shelf. And sitting on this shelf is a fucking Subway sandwich in its wrapper and a drink in the Subway cup. And that's what Natalya finally works her way towards. I eat right, I exercise, I drink plenty of water. Oh, and this new Subway sandwich really helps too. So basically, they have Natalya on the show for about a minute and a half, because that's about as long as this segment was. They have her do nothing but plug Subway. Natalya, just fucking quit. They're never gonna do anything with you. If you have the money, just fucking quit. We get a recap from earlier, the stuff between Triple H and Ambrose. And then there was hype for something, I think, that was supposed to be up next, I think. I kind of missed this part. They cut to a commercial break. Who cares? Coming back, the Ryberg's music hits, and out he comes to no fucking reaction, while the social jabroni outcasts are already standing in the ring. And while Ryback's coming out, we get a picture-in-a-picture promo of him talking, I'm gonna take something, Vince's dick up his ass. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Who cares? We get a match between Adam Rose and the Ryberg, which is basically just a crap squash. What happens? Well, Adam Rose kind of started beating up Ryback for a brief moment. He was actually beating him down, whatever the fuck. And then all of a sudden, Ryback just snaps. Gets Adam Rose on the ground and just just like doing like the ultimate UFC punching from like No Mercy, just douche, 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 to the point where the referee actually has to dive in and pull Ryback off. He's pulling one of Ryback's arms back, and Ryback's still like bam, 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 just back fisting Rose in the fucking head. And I'm thinking like, okay, ref's gonna DQ Ryback for like excessive force or something. Ryback gets up free from the referee, picks up Rose, gets him on his shoulders, hits the fucking shell-shocked. Ref counts 1, 2, 3. Ryback wins. And he immediately leaves the ring and fucks off to the back. Crowd don't give a fuck, by the way. They're still dead. We get another recap, this time of the promo from Paul Heyman last week about Lesnar and Ambrose, and also showing the footage of the beating that Lesnar gave Ambrose, both before the show and during the show, beating him up on the floor and everything. And the whole thing between them getting a match, whatever the fuck. Cutting back to the arena. Don't be sour! Feel the power! The New Day comes out. And while they're coming out, they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, their music is still playing, and I'm like, okay, so we're going to get AJ and Jericho's entrances? The New Day are standing in the ring with microphones, and I'm like, goody. They start talking. They bro hug each other. They're talking like, unlike AJ and Jericho, this right here, the New Day, is a real brotherhood. We really care about each other. You know, we ain't just some ass clowns who are fucking tagging with each other for no reason. We actually like each other. We're not out here pretending to be friends. So they hug each other. They're talking some more. They mention the League of Nations again for no reason. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Big E mentioned something about... He brought up the League of Nations, the League of Booty, he calls them. And then he started saying the League of Loose Booty. It was kind of funny, the way he said it. I don't know. Anyways, one of them's mid-sentence, and then Jericho's pyro goes off on the stage, and out he comes. His entrance is long-winded as fuck. His pyro goes off, the lights go out, he gets the countdown, the lights come back up for a minute, I think maybe more pyro or something, I don't remember, and then the lights go back down, and then Jericho, on the stage, in his light bright jacket, all the little lights and everything, he finally makes his way to the fucking ring. While he's coming out, we get a recap from SmackDown. If you'll remember from the SmackDown video, AJ and Jericho teamed with Mark Henry to go against the 3 members of the New Day. And one thing that was not in the notes, so it wasn't in my video, is Kofi Kingston went for the Trouble in Paradise on AJ Styles. Jericho comes up from behind AJ, pushes him out of the way, and Jericho wound up eating the Trouble in Paradise. Ended up with a nice shiner in his eye, too. So he took one for the team. AJ and Styles and Henry ended up getting the win. And they even showed the little Twitter things. Jericho said something about taking one for the team, and AJ responded back, yeah, thanks, I owe you one. You know, whatever the fuck. Anyways, AJ's music hits, and he comes out to a nice pop. And we get a match between Y2AJ, and I think it was Big E, yeah, it was Big E and Kofi, and Woods was on the outside, because Woods plays cheerleader most of the time. There was a double dive spot. Jericho and AJ dove over the top rope to wipe out Big E and Kofi. They cut to commercial short after that. Coming back from the commercial, I think, they were doing a spot that I believe JBL called the Unicorn Stampede, which was basically, I think they had Yeah, they had AJ in the ring, in their corner. The New Day had AJ in their corner. One guy is just stomping the crap out of him, basically doing a mud hole stomp, and of course the referee would be counting because you have a 5 count when they're in the corner. When the ref gets to 4, he tags out to his partner, gets out of the ring while the new guy comes in, and he starts kicking the motherfucker too. And they just kept doing that. 4, 5, 6 turns, each of them going around and around. And I'm like, shouldn't there be a rule, like, you only get to do this so much and then the referee disqualifies you? Like, even if you're not going all the way to 5, it should still be illegal because they're still basically breaking the rules. AJ gets knocked out of the ring and knocked down to the floor, and for some reason, Woods pulls out a deck of cards, and he's like, Kofi, pick a card. And Kofi pulls one out, and it looked like a king, or one of the royalty cards. So the joke they go for doesn't make any fucking sense. The joke he goes for is, Kofi picks a card, and Woods goes, what did you get, man? What did you get? And Kofi goes, I got his number. I got his number. I'm like, motherfucker, you pulled out a king. That's not a number. You dipshit. So that was stupid. AJ hits his Pele kick on Big E, and he starts making his comeback. He makes the hot tag into Jericho. There was some bullshit, yada yada. I think Jericho was the victim of a roll-up, but actually somehow managed to kick out at 2, despite the fact that move usually ends a fucking match. Because it's so devastating. Jericho hits the lion salt on somebody. AJ came springboarding into the ring to hit Big E with his big flying forearm, and then AJ got chucked out of the ring. What ended up happening, in a nice semblance of continuity, Kofi went for the Trouble in Paradise on Jericho. And since Jericho got nailed with it on SmackDown, this time he sees it coming. Catching Kofi, locking him in the walls of Jericho, and Kofi has to tap out, so Jericho and AJ get the win. The New Day are kind of licking their wounds, leaving there, crawling up the ramp, basically. And back in the ring, AJ has a microphone. And he says, that win, since we've beaten you twice now, that win basically puts us first in line for a title shot at the tag titles. And Jericho takes the mic and he says, yeah, we're challenging you for next week to a title match for the tag titles next week on Raw. I didn't even go all that far. Who cares? That's whatever. Anyways, that segment's basically over. The match between Y2AJ and the New Day, it was decent enough, I guess. It was better than the other matches, I guess. I think I may have forgot to mention it. The match between the Lucha Dragons versus Sheamus and Rusev was boring. Anyways, they cut into this thing where they ask the question, are we going to see a match between Triple H and Dean Ambrose for the title? Is Triple H going to give Ambrose the match that he wanted, he asked for? So they basically tease it, basically, whatever it is, like a hype thing, but whatever. Speaking of hype, we get hype for Ambrose versus Del Rio. That's going to be later on. And we also get hype for The Undertaker, which is supposedly next. And then they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break at about the 10 o'clock hour, Vince's music hits, and he comes out to basically no reaction. He gets a mic, and he basically starts bitching that he got no reaction. He says, that's it? That's all the ovation I get? I'm like, no, that's all you get, you old clown. Fuck you. You don't deserve any reaction anymore. Not that you ever really did. he starts going on this rant about, after WrestleMania, I'm going to write Shane out of my will. I'm going to give all the money to Stephanie. And he basically says, yeah, whatever the fuck. There's a Shane O'Mac chant. And then Vince introduces The Undertaker as his own personal instrument of destruction, or something to that effect. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure The Undertaker would not like being called that. Because he don't really work for you. At least in kayfabe. In kayfabe, Undertaker kind of hates Vince. He always has. But Vince introduces The Undertaker, and out comes The Undertaker. And I'm kind of thinking, is this going to be some fake Undertaker or something again? Sure enough, no. It's the real Undertaker. It's the real guy. Mean Mark. Out he comes, taking fucking forever. Taker gets in the ring. He basically stares at Vince, giving him the stink eye for way too long. And, oh yeah. The crowd started chanting Undertaker. And Vince is like, you're damn right, that's The Undertaker, and he's my personal weapon of destruction, or whatever. Taker walks up to Vince, grabs him by the throat, and holds him there. So Vince has the mic in front of Taker's mouth. Basically, all The Undertaker says, he has like 2 lines of dialogue. Basically, all he says was at WrestleMania, your son's blood is going to be on your hands, not mine. And Taker fucking leaves after that. That's basically all he said, and he leaves. So Taker showed up, flew all the way from Texas to Tennessee, puts on his fucking outfit and everything, his fucking coat and his little singlet and his pants and a hat. He gets his big long fucking entrance with pyro and smoke and everything, taking way too long to get his old ass to the ring. He shows up to say 2 lines, and that's it. Then he leaves. Vince has to grab a bottle of water from the commentators or whatever, and he gets a little drink of water, and he kind of faked a cough like from being choked. And Vince continues talking about Shane being a failure, and after WrestleMania he's going to be a failure, and after WrestleMania he's going to renounce Shane as his son. Shane will no longer be his son, he'll just be a son of a bitch. So, unnecessary jab at Linda, or whoever the fuck, I don't know. Crowd's dead. They cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, we recap again old news. The Dudleys beating up the Usos from 3 weeks ago. Putting them through the tables, all that bullshit. Speaking of the Usos, out they come to basically not much of a reaction. Like, they get a reaction during their little opening part. They do the part where they say, when we say oos, y'all say oh. And they go oos, and the crowd goes oh. And I think really the crowd's just doing it out of sympathy anymore. Because after that, they go dead. And they don't give a fuck about the Usos after that. I think the crowd is just looking for something to do. So anybody who presents them with any sort of interactivity, they're like, yay, woo, oh, whatever the fuck. They really don't seem to care much. The Usos come out, and the Dudleys come out to no reaction. Like, the crowd was dead for them. Nothing. Dudleys are so not over as fucking heels. And since we got Devon versus Jimmy, I think, on SmackDown, they do Jay versus Bubba here. Shit match, didn't last very long. All we get is, on the outside of the ring, Jay was doing good inside the ring with Bubba. But on the outside of the ring, Devon pulls a distraction by whipping up the ring apron, grabbing a table out from under the ring, and getting it up on its edge. Jimmy comes around the corner, springs up off the ring steps, and Devon throws the table into his face. So Jimmy eats a whole lot of table from Devon, eats a whole lot of wood from Devon. Giggity. Not very much giggity. Back in the ring, off of the distraction, Bubba hits the Dudley bomb, the full Nelson sit-out bomb. Shit move, by the way. And that actually gets Bubba the win. He pins him with that shit bomb. That's what I'm going to start calling him. It's a shit bomb. It jams your ass into the ground. The Usos have big asses. Trust me, they probably don't feel it. So does Bubba, that fat fuck. So, Bubba wins. Crowd's dead, of course. And... oh yeah, during the whole schmoz with Jimmy eating the wood, some guy in the crowd goes, "What the hell is going on here?" Like, he literally shouted that, and I'm right there with him. I'm like, what the fuck is this boring filler garbage? Nobody cares about this feud between the Dudleys and the Usos. No one cares about the Usos. And now that the Dudleys are heel and they've gotten rid of the tables, no one gives a fuck about them either. They're old and they need to fuck off. We cut backstage to another locker room area. There's Truth, R-Truth, and up comes Goldust. And Truth basically cuts him off and just says, "Look, whatever you're going to do tonight, don't. Just don't. I don't need your help winning matches, yada, yada, yada." He says, "We're done. This ain't happening between us. We're not going to be a tag team. We're done." And Goldust is visibly upset at this, and he kind of hangs his head, and he turns away and he kind of sulks off, leaving Truth, who kind of regrets what he just did. He's like, "Oh man, you know." Like, so now he's feeling bad that he's been so mean to Goldie. So now they're gonna team up, and it's gonna be lame. Like, we don't have enough fucking tag teams that aren't doing shit in the division right now. After that, more teasing for the match, the potential match, between Triple H and Ambrose for the title. And then we get hype for Ambrose versus Del Rio for later on. And then all of a sudden they decide to announce that here later on, not even later on, here next, they're going to do a rematch from SmackDown, Kevin Owens versus The Big Show. That's going to be next, and they cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, Owens' music hits, and he comes out to what seemed like no reaction. I don't know if it was just the crowd being dead from the overall boring nature of the show, or if they're really just starting to lose interest in Owens as a character because he's been booked like shit. Despite the fact he's the Intercontinental Champion, despite the fact he beat Cena earlier for the US title, this has been a ways back. Despite all that, they're like losing interest. They have ruined Kevin Owens in the WWE. Thanks, idiots. This guy was a fucking killer in Ring of Honor. The Antichrist of professional wrestling. You have neutered him and turned him into just some other jabroni. Fuck the booking committee, the booking staff in the WWE. Fuck the creative department, and that includes Triple H and Stephanie. And Vince. Fuck this company for ruining Kevin Owens. Big Show also comes out to no reaction. Of course, he doesn't deserve a reaction. He sucks. People were chanting, "Please retire," at this guy. Not right now, but they were at previous events, whatever the fuck. We get a match between these two, and it's crap. Why? Because basically, they do the same finish they did on SmackDown, only in reverse. Instead of Owens crotching Big Show on the top rope, Big Show crotches Owens on the top rope, and Owens falls to the floor and gets counted out. The only other noteworthy spot from this match was Big Show was on the outside of the ring, Owens jumps to the apron, grabs Show by the head, and does a tornado DDT, planting Big Show on the floor. So that was earlier in the match, and then the bullshit, Owens gets... Oh yeah, what happened was Owens was up top. He had Show down for a second. He goes up to the top rope. Big Show gets up, grabs Owens by the neck, going to choke slam him, and Owens tried to fight him off, but couldn't. Big Show just kind of grabs him and pulls him forward, crotching Steen nuts first on the top rope. Steen falls to the outside of the ring, to the floor. Ref counts him out. Match is done. Big Show wins by countout. Crap. Crowd's dead again. We cut backstage. There's Renee Young and Brie Bella. Why Brie isn't gone, I don't know. Apparently they still have something for her to do. Brie's talking, whatever the fuck. She's like, yeah, I lost to Charlotte at Fastlane, but you know what, I'm still here, I'm still whatever the fuck. Up comes Lana. I'm like, oh hey, there she is. Looking hot like always. Lana says, you know, you bit the big one at Fastlane, and you're really pitiable, and she's like, my husband is this Goliath of a man, and you have this tiny little goat man in Daniel Bryan. And she's basically just running down Brie. Brie comes back by saying, you know what, until you step in the ring and lace up a pair of boots, you can kiss my ass. That's basically it. And Brie fucks off. They cut to a commercial break. Coming back to the show, Brie and Naomi are already in the ring. Naomi's music is playing. So they both get jobber entranced. We get a match between these two, and it's shit, obviously. There's not an ounce of talent between these two. Tamina, of course, is on the outside for Naomi because they're attached at the fucking hip. The ugly twins, I guess. Tamina interferes by tripping Brie. Brie was on the apron standing there, and Tamina trips her, and Brie falls onto the apron. Naomi came up, drop-kicked her off the apron to the floor, whatever the fuck. There was a somewhat interesting spot. Naomi grabs Brie by the head and runs towards a corner, and I'm like, oh Christ, she's not going to try a Stratisfaction, is she? No. She jumps, goes in between the ropes, rams Brie's head into the middle turnbuckle. And then she's kind of sitting there on the turnbuckle, and she even does one of these numbers, and I'm like, wow. A fucking X-Pac ripoff. Because that's basically what X-Pac did when he was doing his Bronco Buster. After that, Naomi starts doing those shitty kicks where she goes back and forth and back and forth. The kicks look really weak. Really weak. Like they wouldn't put a dent in a cream puff. That's how weak these fucking kicks look. Brie blocks the final one, kicks Naomi, gets her down on her knees, and Brie starts doing the repeating Daniel Bryan style kicks and even gets a yes chant, and the commentators even call them the yes kicks. And Naomi does some shitty, really shitty crucifix. Like she was going almost, it looked like she was trying to do a crucifix driver, which you need a lot of talent to pull that off. Both of the people need a lot of talent. And neither one of them have that much talent, so they fucked it up. It looked like they went for it, and then Brie just kind of landed on top of Naomi. And she still tried to get her off of it, but she's like, no. But then Naomi wriggles it into this weird submission where she's like elbowing Brie in the head. And I'm like, what the fuck is this contrived shit? Brie taps out to this. And so Naomi gets the win. Crowd's dead, of course. I think I just said that. Naomi and Tamina fuck off. Brie's left in the ring, and then Lana's music hits. She comes out on the stage, and basically all she does is, like, mocking Brie. Good job, stupid. That was it. She didn't say anything. She didn't attack Brie. Nothing. So, complete waste of a spot. Apparently they're going to try and do a match between these two, or at least that's what they're hinting at. Lana is actually trained to wrestle, so I'm surprised it's taken them this fucking long to pull the trigger on actually having her wrestle. We get more hype for the Ambrose versus Del Rio match, which is going to be next, and they cut to another commercial break. Coming back from the break, they finally announce this week's inductees into the Hall of Fame, who are going to be the Fabulous Freebirds. And I'm thinking, wow, they took this long to put the Freebirds in? Nobody seemed to give a shit, by the way. Crowd were still dead all throughout the video package. JBL started hyping them up like, if you were in Texas in the 80s, there were two things that you gave a fuck about. One was the Dallas Cowboys, and the other one was the Fabulous Freebirds against the Von Erich family. And I'm like, yeah, and the Freebirds were heels at the time, so everybody in Texas hated them. Whatever. We get a recap of what happened between Becky and Sasha earlier on, the double pin finish. We cut backstage to Becky and Sasha talking to each other. You know, if I had a couple more minutes, I'd have beat you. They both say the same thing. And then up comes Charlotte. And she says, basically all she says is, you two get another chance. You're going to have a rematch on SmackDown. She makes some bad joke and she fucks off. And that's basically all there is to that dumb shit. We get another recap of Vince's promo from earlier talking about renouncing Shane and all that other garbage. Ambrose's music hits, and he comes out to a nice pop. And then they cut to commercial break. Coming back from the break, they hype up the fact that on Raw next week, it's been made official. Y2AJ are getting a tag team title shot against the New Day. We get hype for Shane McMahon, who's going to be there next week on Raw. And then Alberto Del Rio's music hits, like his solo music. And he comes out accompanied by the other League of Jabronis members. They come out to no reaction, of course. We get a match between Ambrose and Del Rio, and for what it was okay. But basically, it was Ambrose being hurt because he's still selling the beating he took from Brock last week. I mean, during Ambrose's entrance, he's limping to the fucking ring. He's got taped shoulder, taped ribs. He looks like shit. And he's just getting beat up by Del Rio most of this match. Del Rio puts Ambrose in the Tree of Woe and goes for that contrived stomp. But Ambrose gets a leg free from the Tree of Woe and uses it to pull himself up and grab Del Rio and just kind of throw him off the top rope. Del Rio hit a backcracker on Ambrose. And then they go outside the ring, and Del Rio gets Ambrose hanging from the barricade. And they do the contrived-ass spot again. He gets him hanging from the barricade. Del Rio has to go around into the timekeeper's area, set up a chair to jump up to get on and stomp Ambrose into the ground from the barricade. After that, Del Rio jumps in the ring, and the ref starts counting. Ambrose barely makes it in just before the 10 count. Ambrose hits his teeter-totter clothesline. He starts making his comeback. Del Rio winds up thrown out of the ring, and the other League of Jabronis members are there trying to help him up. Ambrose jumps up to the top rope, comes flying off the top rope, and wipes out all 4 of them. And then Ambrose scrambles back into the ring, and King of Kings hits. And out comes Triple H, still in his suit. He's got the belt. He takes off his jacket. He takes off his tie. And it's looking like, obviously, there's going to be a fight. While Triple H is making his way to the ring, he's still carrying the belt. He just kind of motions, and the League of Jabronis jump in the ring, all 4 of them, and they beat the crap out of Ambrose. And so, obviously, this is a DQ. The ref calls for the bell, and there's ding, 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 ding. So I'm guessing Ambrose wins by DQ. The League hold Ambrose up so Del Rio can super kick him in the face, knocking Ambrose the fuck out. And he's laid out on his face down, basically. Triple H gets in the ring, and he's got a mic. And he starts trying to talk. He's like, why don't you just stay down? You can't beat me. Whatever the fuck. And I can't remember what it was. I think Dean was like clawing, scraping, trying to get up. And Triple H like bends over. And Ambrose just reaches up and cracks him in the fucking face. And Paul stumbles backwards into the corner. Ambrose jumps up, starts whacking him. But Triple H hits him, knocks him down, hits a fucking pedigree on him. And Ambrose is face down in the fucking ring again. And he says, Triple H grabs the mic back up and he says, you know what? Fine, I'll give you your title match. You're on. He starts trying to leave. Or he goes to leave. He drops the microphone, and it just happens to land right in front of Ambrose's face. Ambrose is face down on the fucking mat. And as Triple H is leaving, he's like, hey, Triple H. He's still laying on his face. The microphone is just laying in front of his face. And he says, hey, Triple H, thanks. And that's all he says. Triple H starts going back to the ring. He grabs Dean up and he throws him out of the fucking ring. Throws him over the fucking commentary table. And the commentators, they scatter. And Triple H throws Dean up onto the table and starts beating, just punching Ambrose. He mounts him and he's just hammer fisting him like he did to Reigns last week. And he's just punching him and punching him and punching him. The referees come out and they're like, just you gotta stop. Triple H throws off the stupid part of the table and he grabs one of the new monitors. Apparently they got new monitors. He chucks one and it hits one of the referees in the leg and he's like, motherfucker, that's smarted. And he's still just punching him on this table. The referees finally break it up and they pull Triple H off. Triple H finally leaves. And of course the crowd is booing this whole time. Because that's what they should have been doing last week when Triple H did the same fucking thing to Roman Reigns. Who the crowd don't give a fuck about. I don't know what the hell they were doing with this. If they were just testing the waters with like having Ambrose in the title match against Triple H. Or just having Ambrose against Triple H for the title. Triple H basically said you're on. So Ambrose is going to get a title match, I guess. Don't know when. But Triple H leaves. Crowd's booing him. And that's the end of the show. So yeah. This episode of Raw was boring from start to finish. Basically nothing happened. There were no title matches, no titles changed hands. They set up a tag title match for next week. They're trying to set up some kind of a feud or whatever between Kevin Owens and The Big Show. a match that no one would fucking care about, no matter how much hyper build you gave it. They're trying to set up a match between Triple H and Dean Ambrose for the title. Ambrose's reasoning was Roman won the right to face the champion at WrestleMania, but that champion doesn't necessarily need to be Triple H. So basically what Ambrose is getting at is he wants to be the champion that Reigns has to go against at WrestleMania. I'm like, motherfucker, you're already scheduled for a match against Lesnar at WrestleMania. What are you going to do? Wrestle twice? Once against Lesnar, get the shit beat out of you in a fucking street fight, and then get beat up by Roman Reigns? What would that accomplish? I don't know. It doesn't fucking make any goddamn sense. The only thing that could possibly happen here that could be any good, if Ambrose could somehow beat Triple H for the title, go into WrestleMania as champion, and have Roman, since he's guaranteed a match, go against Roman, and somehow have Rollins come back too. And he could basically say, you know, I never lost the title. I had to vacate it because of injury. I deserve a title shot too. And they would make it the triple threat between the former Shield members. That's the only possible good thing that could happen here. But I really don't think, because they said Rollins is out until May. So that eliminates that possibility. God. What else? The Undertaker comes out for all of 5 or 6 minutes to say 2 lines and then leave. I'm surprised Taker is not completely against this match. Like, I would have thought he would have come out and just been like, I've got nothing to win here. I've got nothing to lose here. There's nothing on the line for me. Why should I face Shane McMahon? I have no desire to. I have no need to. My streak's not on the line. It's already been broken. I've got nothing at stake here. And beating up Shane McMahon isn't really going to do anything for me. He just warns Vince, Shane's blood is going to be on your hands, not mine. Like, Taker's doing this reluctantly. Whatever the fuck. So, we'll recap the matches, I guess. We'll recap the matches. We started off with the fucking Divas match, Becky and Sasha, who fight to a draw, both pinning each other. Pointless. They're probably going to do the same thing at SmackDown, which is going to lead to the triple threat at WrestleMania. The Miz defeats Dolph Ziggler with a fucking cheap-ass roll-up. What the fuck? The Lucha Dragons get jobbed out by Sheamus and Rusev of the League of Nations in a boring match. The Ryback squashes the fuck out of Adam Rose. Y2AJ defeats the New Day in a decent match. Jey Uso gets jobbed out by Bubba Ray Dudley in a shit, boring match. Kevin Owens loses by countout to the Big Show in a crap fucking match. Naomi makes Brie Bella tap out with a shit fucking submission move in a shit match. Shit boring match. And then Dean Ambrose beats Alberto Del Rio by disqualification when the rest of the League of Nations interferes in the match, causing the DQ. Just so Triple H can beat the hell out of Ambrose, they completely repeated the ending of last week's show. The only thing they didn't repeat was having Ambrose bloodied. Oh, and apparently Roman had to have nose surgery, reconstructive nose surgery, because of how bad Triple H splattered Roman's face, which was a blood packet that Byron Saxton handed him. In real life, Roman had some other surgery that was completely unrelated to the beating. Don't know what the fuck. Who cares? That was Monday Night Raw. February 29th, 2016, Nashville, Tennessee, the Bridgestone Arena. It was fucking boring. Oh my god, this show's boring. So goddamn boring. Anyways, I've got better things to get to. So, thank you for watching the Wrestling Rant tonight. Join us next time when we do the SmackDown spoilers. We'll see you then for that. I'm sure it's probably that show's probably going to be boring too, because this week was fucking boring. Like I said before, the road to WrestleMania this year is paved with potholes and speed bumps, thumbtacks and broken glass and barbed wire and all kinds of things to make your car stop working so you don't want to make it to WrestleMania. WrestleMania this year is going to suck for the 4th year in a row. Fourth year in a row. You guys suck right now at booking WrestleMania. The one where Daniel Bryan won the title, that one still sucked. Just because of Taker losing his streak to Brock and all the other stupid shit that happened during the night that made no fucking sense. Bryan winning the title was the one good thing that happened. The silver lining to the dark cloud. That WrestleMania still sucked. The one before it sucked. The one last year sucked. And this year's gonna suck too. So that's 4 fucking years in a row. Not looking forward to WrestleMania this year. Anyways, that's been the Wrestling Rant. Thank you for watching. Join us for SmackDown spoilers. Here as soon as I can find notes for them. Join us next time for that, and we will see you next time. Bye.